Hoy es enero 27 y esta es la parte 1 del video. Hoy es el laboratorio de ciencia en el salón de Miss Farrington y vamos a estar aquí trabajando juntos. El objetivo de hoy es el 4.7b y dice que puede identificar cambios graduados a la superficie de la Tierra. So, what is today's objective, guys? So changes to the Earth's surface, exactly, perfect, okay? So, aquí cada estación presente, cada persona va a poder trabajar en una de estas estaciones. Si usted está en su casa, usted solamente va a escribir sobre lo que usted está observando en el video, ya que posiblemente usted no tiene los materiales en su casa.
Okay, so welcome. There is a presentation in that drive if you want, but it's at each table, so it's probably not necessary. So today we have 5 stations that we're going to do, that every one of them has to do with weathering, just like?
Yeah. Yes.
Weathering, erosion, and deposition. So weathering, who can tell me what weathering is?
¿Qué es degradación? You have it in your notebooks, right?
Okay, look if you have to.
Of rocks into very small particles by gravity, water, wind, and ice.
Okay, water, wind, and ice. So if you look up here, it says the breaking down of rock. So one of the things that Miss Carbonus always says, she does this little song, she goes, break it, move it, drop it. And she has them say it over and over and over again. So the first part, weathering, is the breaking down. So everybody go like this, go break it.
Todo el mundo va a hacer lo que la señora está diciendo.
Break it.
Lo rompe.
Erosion is the movement of sediment. So she goes, move it.
La erosión es el movimiento de sedimentos, so ella dice, lo mueves.
So say, move it.
O mueves.
Drop it. Okay.
Lo sueltas.
Break it, move it, drop it. Right? So break it, move it, drop it. So the weathering is breaking down, and we're going to do a lot with weathering today. Erosion is moving the sediment. So it's when it moves. So sometimes it gets confusing. Is it weathering? Is it erosion? Because I think of erosion as eating away at a coastline and all the stuff washes away. So the washing away part of all that soil and everything by water or wind or ice, that's the part that's called erosion. And wherever it lands in the end, when it drops down and it falls, that's deposition. Okay? So it might be a sand dune, it could make a delta at the mouth of a river. It drops all the sand and makes new soil. But you're going to do some experiments today that will help you to better understand. So,
Ok, so en el día de hoy, si usted está en su casa, como le expliqué, usted va a ver cada estación, ¿verdad? Y solamente va a escribir de lo que usted observó sobre la degradación, la erosión. ¿Cuáles son las 3 palabras? Degradación, erosión y deposición, right? Tú eres el que está en español, tú eres el que está en español, ustedes deberían de saber, ¿ok? So, entonces usted va a escribir estas 3 palabras y eso es lo que vamos a estar haciendo en cada una de estas estaciones, ¿ok?
okay, so I'll let you man that. The first one, the effects of acid rain on copper rocks.
Okay, la primera es el efecto de la lluvia ácida.
So acid rain is caused by pollution. When stuff from automobiles and smog gets up in the air, it makes the rain get acidy. I'm trying to say it slow so that it's easy for you to interpret.
So, la causa de la lluvia de ácido es todas las cosas que salen de los carros, ¿verdad? De los automóviles cuando están guiando, están manejando, ¿verdad? Que sale todo ese aire sucio, todo eso es lo que causa que caiga lluvia ácida.
So who knows what acid is?
¿Quién sabe lo que es ácido?
Okay, can you explain?
Acid is something that if you touch it, it'll burn your skin.
Right, but they're simple. Vinegar is an acid. So it's a very mild acid. It won't really burn your skin, but over long periods of time, you can see how it would break down rocks and minerals and things like that. So we're going to use this. So what you're going to do here,
So lo que va a hacer aquí, o observar desde su casa,
is you're going to take 2 pennies, put 1 in each beaker. One
bueno, puedes hacer desde tu casa, vas a tomar 2 centavos y lo vas a poner,
probably have an A, right?
lo vas a poner en un vaso, le puedes poner agua
And vinegar.
y el otro vinagre.
Okay. So all you're going to do is cover. I'll do the first one to show you, demonstrate. You take water and you just pour
Tomas el agua y lo echas,
enough to cover the penny.
suficiente para cubrir el centavo.
Okay. On the one with the vinegar,
El que tiene vinagre,
you're going to pour a little bit of vinegar.
le voy a echar solo bastante o un poco nada más de vinagre para cubrir el centavo.
And vinegar is an acid.
Y el vinagre es un ácido.
So would that be physical weathering, which is physically breaking down something like wind and rocks pounding on something? Is that physical or chemical? Chemical, right? So we're going to add some salt to soak this up.
Una cosa que estábamos preguntando es, la degradación viene del viento, ¿verdad? Del clima. Pero ¿qué tipo de degradación estamos hablando aquí? Estamos hablando de una degradación química que es causada por diferentes químicos.
So before I put this in, let me back it up a little. Physical, chemical, biological weathering, 3 types. Physical is when it's physically, like it touches and it breaks it down, it's hitting it, it's a hammer or wind or ice.
So, la degradación física es algo que es como contacto directo, algo que le está dando como por ejemplo el hielo, el viento, el agua.
Chemical is caused by rain or some other sort of liquid or chemical.
Entonces, la degradación química es causada por lluvia o cualquier otro químico.
Okay, and biological is when like plants get between the rocks and grow and split them apart.
Y biológico, degradación biológica es como por ejemplo cuando las plantas crecen en medio de una roca y ¿qué pasa? La roca termina rompiéndose, ¿verdad? ¿Lo ha visto?
Okay. Has anybody, particularly girls, ever had salt scrub where they put salt in the liquid and then you rub your hands? What does it do?
It makes your hand hot.
No, when you put the salt on your skin, it rubs off the what? The dead skin, right? So is that physical or chemical?
Physical.
Physical, very good. So we're going to combine chemical and physical by putting salt in here and swirling it around to see if that speeds up the process. So all you'll do is put a little bit in there and you'll swirl it. So now we have the salt scratching it and the vinegar working together, so both physical and chemical. And I don't want you to see what happens. So I'm going to go.
Si está en su casa, usted puede usar un centavo, puede usar agua y vinagre si tiene, 2 centavitos, los pone uno en cada vaso y puedes escribir sobre ese proyecto y enviarme una foto sobre eso y explicarme qué tipo de degradación va a ser.
Okay, I want you to try it yourself. So, physical and chemical weathering. All right, I'm going to move this a little faster, sorry. 2. This is the effects of acid rain on limestone. Texas is covered with limestone. Limestone is a sedimentary rock. It's formed at the bottom of oceans and places where animal life, shells, all that sort of sand, all sink to the bottom, and the weight and pressure of all that water over a long period of time compresses, that's what it compacts and pushes it, makes it hard into a rock. So this one, we're going to use chalk. So you're going to take a piece of chalk and put in each one. Doesn't matter the color.
Este es otro proyecto que si usted está en su casa también puede hacer. Si tiene tiza, puede usar 2 pedazos de tiza. Y vamos a usar los mismos ingredientes, agua y vinagre.
Okay, water, vinegar. So this one you're going to cover with water, and this one you're going to cover with vinegar, and do not move it around, because we don't want to add physical by swirling it, right? So you're going to just pour the liquid and place it on top. And just leave it, okay, and see what happens. This one right here, this is a fun one. You're going to take a rock, find one that's jagged on the edges. This is the effect of wind erosion. So the best we could do was to give you sandpaper, and you're going to sand the rock and see what happens. Years of sand pounding against rock. How it changes landscape and changes big rocks. Okay, so you're going to observe that. Please do it over this. It's very messy, but a lot of fun and very satisfying, I guess. Over here, the effect of water on carbonate rocks. So some rocks, if you ever, this is Alka-Seltzer and this is a bicarbonate. So this comes naturally from the ground. And many of the rocks are made from the same chemical, or mineral, excuse me, not chemical.
Okay, so este proyecto puede usar un Alka-Seltzer. Okay, so esto es algo que usted tendría que preguntarle, ¿verdad? Permiso a su mamá o a su papá. Entonces va a necesitar agua y un Alka-Seltzer.
Okay, so you're going to put it in there, put a little bit of water, and this says observe it for 1 minute, then for 3 minutes. It will be gone by then. So this is your control. It's your control variable is when you do nothing to. Why don't we want to do anything to this? When we look at this, and then we go back and look at the original, so you can see the changes. So the control will help us to see how it changes. So when you take the tweezers and pull it out, put it next to the control after you put water on it, and you can touch it and compare it to the original.
So vamos a tener 2 tabletas, una va a ser el control variable para poder observar los cambios al proyecto que ustedes pues van a poder comparar y ver, como dijo mi amigo Francisco, los cambios graduados en la tableta.
Okay, so yes, so don't, where it says 1 minute and 3 minutes, we found out within 30 seconds it'll be totally dissolved. So as soon as it starts bubbling, whoops, told you what's going to happen, remove it. So,
Okay, so en este proyecto no puedes dejarlo más de 30 segundos porque después se disuelve completamente y no vas a poder compararlo, ¿ok?
okay, so this is erosion of soil on a hillside.
Y esto es degradación de la tierra en un inclinaje.
So we're creating a hillside of sand. Now, the sand is wet, so it's been raining in our neighborhood here. And you are going to first start by adding water, just dripping it. You can all take a turn and you'll drip it. And I want you to observe what happens to the water. Where does it go? What happens to it? Then you will make it a steeper incline. So the way you'll do that is we're just going to add. So this is a steep hill. And you're going to do the same thing. It's going to rain, you're going to add water. And I want you to observe what happens when it's steeper and it rains heavily. And you have, what force would be acting on that going down the hill? What force? Go ahead, say it.
Gravity.
Gravity, good for you. I think that's some rewards. Gravity. So the force of gravity plus the heavy mass of that wet, heavy mud and soil and all of that on a mountainside sometimes can be disastrous. So, you're gonna see first, if it's just a regular hill, and then you're gonna see what would happen on a mountain, okay? So don't go crazy squirting, but take your time because I want you to see what happens. Very interesting. And I want you to see how erosion takes place. Any questions? So it does tell you the objective. For example, the objective is you'll test the effect that water has on carbonate rocks. So you could write the objective and then write one observation. Okay?
So puede escribir el objetivo y escribir una observación sobre la estación o el proyecto, ¿ok?
All right. So, are we ready to begin? And how long do we want to? How long do we have for each part?
So, aquí estamos entonces, vamos a comenzar cada uno de los proyectos. Si estás en tu casa y quieres hacer uno de los proyectos, puedes entonces tratar de hacer el primer centavos, agua y vinagre, pones uno en agua, pones uno en vinagre para que puedas comparar entonces los químicos, ¿ok? Si tienes cualquier pregunta, voy a dejar el enlace abierto, pero hasta aquí llegó entonces nuestro video.
Right, so start first, just the hillside. Just the part. Okay.